What if I told you that right now inside your skull a slow, silent fire is burning? It doesn't hurt, you cannot feel it, but it is systematically dismantling who you are. It's thinning out your memories, it's slowing down your sharpest thoughts. And until recently, every single neuroscientist on Earth believed this fire was completely unstoppable. Welcome back to Possibly Possible. I am Gianluca, and today we are standing on the absolute precipice of a medical revolution. For decades, humanity has accepted a grim, universal truth. Your brain gets old, your cells wither, and your mind fades. We have poured billions of dollars into treating diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia, only to hit wall after wall. But what if the answer wasn't a complex brain surgery? What if it wasn't a heavy side effects-ridden pharmaceutical pill? What if the key to completely reversing brain aging was as simple as a nasal spray? It sounds like pure science fiction. It sounds impossible, but a groundbreaking new study published by a team of visionary researchers at Texas A&M University has just shattered the status quo. They have developed a novel therapeutic delivery system, a nasal spray that didn't just slow down brain aging in animal models. It reversed it. We are talking about chronic brain inflammation wiped out, cellular energy plants completely rebooted, and cognitive function restored to youthful levels after just 2 doses. If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button right now and turn on the notifications, because on Possibly Possible we don't just guess the future, we track the hard science proving that the impossible is becoming reality. For our old friends and long-time subscribers, buckle up. Today we are doing a deep dive, exhaustive breakdown of this medical miracle. We are going to look at the exact peer-reviewed evidence, the precise biological pathways, and why this simple spray might just save your mind. To understand how incredible this discovery is, we have to start from absolute ground zero. What actually happens to a brain when it ages? Most people think brain aging is just a graying of the hair or getting a little forgetful where you left your keys. But microscopically, it is a horror movie. Inside a healthy youthful brain, you have roughly 86 billion neurons communicating at lightning speeds through trillions of synaptic connections. This massive biological supercomputer is powered by 2 critical systems, an elite cleanup crew and an unyielding power grid. But as the clock ticks, 2 catastrophic failures occur. First, let's talk about the cleanup crew. Your brain has its own specialized immune cells, called microglia. When you are young, these microglia act like hyper-efficient janitors. They protect against pathogens and clear out toxic cellular waste, like amyloid beta plaques. But as we age, a glitch occurs. These janitors get tired. Worse, they become hyper-reactive. Instead of cleaning up the trash, they mistake the brain's own healthy tissue for an enemy. They begin secreting a continuous stream of toxic pro-inflammatory chemicals. This is a state known as chronic neuroinflammation. Imagine a fire engine arriving at a house fire, but instead of spraying water, the firefighters start throwing gasoline on the walls. That is what chronic neuroinflammation does to your brain. It creates a toxic, hostile environment where neurons simply cannot survive. Second, let's look at the power grid. Every cell in your body relies on mitochondria, the literal powerhouses of the cell. Your brain consumes a massive 20% of your body's total energy, despite making up only 2% of your body weight. Your neurons are energy hogs. They need constant, clean fuel to fire signals, store memories, and process information. But aging devastates mitochondria. They become misshapen, inefficient, and begin leaking toxic byproducts called reactive oxygen species. This creates a state of cellular energy starvation. Your brain cells are literally running out of gas, suffocating in a cloud of their own exhaust. This dual strike of chronic neuroinflammation and mitochondrial decay is the root cause of age-related cognitive decline. It is the precursor of Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and senile dementia. Until now, fixing this dual threat seemed impossible because of a single impenetrable wall, the blood-brain barrier. Your brain is wrapped in a tight security net that blocks 98% of all medical drugs from entering. If a drug cannot cross the barrier, it cannot put out the fire. Neuroscientists were trapped outside the castle walls, watching the kingdom burn. The researchers at Texas A&M University looked at this impenetrable wall and asked a wild question. What if we don't go through the front door? What if we use a back door that bypasses the blood-brain barrier entirely? That back door is your nasal passage. Specifically, the olfactory and trigeminal nerve pathways. When you inhale a substance deep into your nasal cavity, it encounters nerves that connect directly to the brain's olfactory bulb, completely skirting past the blood-brain barrier. It is a direct highway to the central nervous system. But the delivery mechanism was only half the puzzle. What would they send down this highway? The Texas A&M team designed a highly sophisticated, novel therapeutic cocktail. The core architecture of this treatment focuses on two spectacular mechanisms: extinguishing the neuroinflammatory fire and forcefully restarting the brain's cellular energy systems. Instead of trying to manually repair billions of damaged neurons one by one, this spray targets the master regulatory pathways. It delivers specialized molecules that communicate directly with those rogue genitors, the microglia. It essentially flashes a stand-down signal to the brain's immune system, instantly flipping the switch from chronic destructive inflammation to a calm restorative state. But they didn't stop there. The true brilliance of this formulation lies in its ability to simultaneously target the mitochondria. The spray introduces compounds that trigger a process known as mitochondrial biogenesis, forcing the cells to dismantle the old broken power plants and build brand new hyper-efficient ones. Think about the sheer audacity of this innovation. We aren't talking about a drug that patches up a symptom. We are talking about a fundamental biological reset button. It's like taking an old, sputtering 1970s engine covered in rust and instantly swapping it for a pristine modern electric motor. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hey Gianluca, this sounds way too good to be true. Where is the evidence? Where is the peer-reviewed data? At this channel, we believe that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Let's look at the actual data generated by the Texas A&M University study. The researchers tested this formulation in rigorous animal trials using aged subjects that exhibited advanced signs of cognitive decline, memory loss, and brain inflammation, equivalents to human brains in their late 70s and 80s. To measure the efficacy of the nasal spray, the scientists tracked three key metrics: inflammatory biomarkers, cellular ATP production, which is the actual energy currency of the brain, and special memory behavioral tests. Let's look at the results. First, the inflammation metrics. When the researchers examined the brain tissue post-treatment, they found a massive, statistically significant drop in pro-inflammatory chitosinases, such as IL-1 beta and TNF-alpha. The hyperreactive microglia had successfully transitioned back into their helpful, youthful states. The cellular fire wasn't just contained, it was completely put out. Second, the energy metrics. The researchers observed a profound spike in mitochondrial function. ATP levels in the hippocampus, the seat of learning and memory, soared. The neurons were no longer starving. They were flooded with clean energy. But the most mind-blowing evidence came from the behavioral trials. The researcher pathway tested this aged subject through complex maze tests to measure spatial memory and cognitive flexibility. Before the treatment, the aged subjects struggled immensely, wandering aimlessly, unable to recall paths they had traveled just days before. Then they administered the nasal spray, not a daily regimen, not a grueling months-long therapy, just 2 doses. The results were jaw-dropping. After just 2 doses, the aged subjects showed massive, undeniable improvements in memory and cognitive function. They navigated the mazes with the speed, accuracy, and adaptability of young adults. And here is the kicker. These cognitive improvements didn't fade away in a few days. The benefits persisted for months. In the lifespan of an animal model, months represent a massive portion of their remaining life. Translating that to human terms, a single short intervention could potentially mean years or even a decade of restored pristine cognitive health. The peer-reviewed data is clear. This isn't a temporary mask. It is a fundamental shift in a biological trajectory. Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. What does this truly mean for the world? What does this mean for you, for your parents, for your grandparents? Right now, age-related cognitive decline is one of the greatest crises facing humanity. Millions of families around the world are watching their loved ones slowly drift away into the fog of dementia. It is a heartbreaking, exhausting process that robs individuals of their dignity, their history, and their connections to the people they love. Economically, the care required for neurodegenerative diseases costs hundreds of billions of dollars annually, threatening to collapse healthcare systems as the global population ages. If the Texas A&M nasal spray successfully translates to human clinical trials, which are the critical next steps, the societal implications are beautiful. Imagine a world where turning 80 or 90 years old doesn't mean accepting a diminished mental life. Imagine keeping your sharp wit, your vivid memories, and your problem-solving capabilities all the way to the very end of your life. We are talking about the eradication of the fear of aging. We are talking about keeping our greatest minds, our scientists, our artists, our philosophers, our grandparents, fully active and contributing to society for decades longer. This innovation completely flips the script on longevity. For years, anti-aging science focused purely on extending lifespan, just keeping the body alive longer. But what good is a long life if your mind isn't there to experience it? This breakthrough promises health span extension, ensuring that your brain remains as young, vibrant and energetic as a 25 years old, even if your birth certificate says otherwise. It is an incredible, profound shift in what it means to grow old. So, where do we go from here? The Texas A&M study is a monumental proof of concept. It has proven that neuroinflammation can be calmed, that mitochondrial energy can be restored, and that all of these can be achieved non-invasively through a simple nasal spray. The next frontier is a human clinical trial. Transitioning from animal models to human beings requires careful calibration, safety testing, and massive funding. But because the delivery method is a non-invasive nasal spray and the target pathways are highly conserved across species, scientists are incredibly optimistic. We are living in an era where the word impossible is losing its meaning. Every day, science is chipping away at the boundaries of human limitation. And today, we have looked at hard, peer-reviewed proof that the decay of our minds is not an inevitably is a biological riddle that we are actively solving. I want to hear from you. If this nasal spray becomes widely available the next few years, how would it change your life? Do you have a loved one who needs this technology right now? Let's start a massive conversation down in the comments below. I read and reply to as many as I can, and your insights drive the direction of this channel. If you have watched this far, you are the heartbeat of Possibly Possible. You are the curious minds who refuse to accept standard limitations. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and share this video with someone who needs to see the incredible future we are building. By subscribing, you ensure you never miss out deep dives into the scientific breakthroughs that are reshaping human history. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your incredible support. And remember, the future isn't just coming, it is already here. And everything is possibly possible. See you in the next video.